Have you been keeping up with the latest news from the Pi Network team? If not, get ready because some big changes are happening that could impact all of us Pi pioneers. In this video, I'll dive into the juicy details about the new basic Pi mining rate for May 2024. We'll look at how this change could affect your Pi earnings moving forward. But that's not all. I'll also compare Pi's situation to what's happening with Bitcoin's mining, and let me tell you, Bitcoin is facing some serious challenges that may shake up the entire crypto world. So stick around as I break everything down in simple terms. I'll make sure even total crypto newbies can understand what's going on. And who knows, by the end you might just get a glimpse into Pi's potential future value. Let's get started. The basic Pi mining rate has changed. Again. Alright Pi fam, here's the deal. Starting in May 2024, the basic Pi mining rate is being adjusted to 0.0055747 Pi per hour. This means each day you'll earn around 0.13 Pi by keeping the Pi app running and tapping the lightning bolt. Over the entire month of May, that only amounts to earning about 4 Pi total from basic mining. Quite a bit lower than what we're used to, right? Now I know some of you might be thinking, why is the Pi core team reducing our mining rates again? While it may seem frustrating at first, try to keep an open mind. Remember, the whole point is to control inflation and increase Pi's future adoption and value. The lower the mining rate, the harder Pi becomes to obtain. This increasing scarcity could very well drive up Pi's worth once it hits the real-world markets and cryptocurrency exchanges. Kind of like how Bitcoin's value skyrocketed after its mining rewards were cut in half every 4 years. Speaking of Bitcoin, let's compare its situation to what's happening with Pi's mining in 2024. How does Pi's changing rate compare to Bitcoin's halving events? For those who don't know, Bitcoin goes through something called a halving every 4 years or so. Basically, the mining rewards are reduced by 50% during each halving to control new Bitcoin supply. Bitcoin has already gone through 3 of these halving events. The 4th one was completed in April 2024. Prior to the finished one, miners currently receive 6.25 Bitcoin for each block they successfully mine. After the finished one, the reward dropped to only 3.125 Bitcoin per block. In the past, these regular Bitcoin halving events have historically caused BTC's price to surge as supply is squeezed. Existing holders hodl tighter, new investors jump in chasing gains, and miners work harder to earn the reduced rewards. However, the situation in late 2024 is looking extremely challenging for Bitcoin miners due to skyrocketing electricity costs. Here's the mind-boggling part. Estimates show the electricity cost alone for mining a single Bitcoin after the halving will be over $42,000 to $45,000. And that's just for the electricity, not even counting other operational expenses. With Bitcoin's current trading price hovering around $55,000 to $60,000 in early May 2024, that would make mining completely unprofitable for many operations. No one can afford to sell Bitcoin for a $15,000 plus loss beyond the extreme electricity bill. So for the first time in Bitcoin's history, the standard by the dip strategy around a halving may not play out as expected. Without a huge surge in price to like $80,000 or $90,000 plus, many miners could be forced to shut down in a vicious cycle that craters the BTC price even further. The Pi Network's changing mining rewards work a bit differently, and potentially a lot more favorable for long-term miners like us. How is Pi positioned for the future compared to Bitcoin? While Bitcoin faces an uphill battle to stay profitable for miners, the outlook for Pi could be a lot brighter once it achieves real-world usage and adoption. Think about it as the active Pi user base rapidly expands from our current 35+ million pioneers to mainstream audiences. The demand and utility for Pi will surge. The more people want and spend Pi for actual products and services, the higher Pi's market value will climb. So in a way, Pi's decreasing mining rewards actually serve as an optimistic signal that adoption is accelerating. Each reduction makes Pi harder to earn, increasing its perceived value and exclusivity as a form of cryptocurrency. Of course, no one can predict exactly how high Pi's value could go in the coming years. But I'm reassured by the strategic approach the core team is taking to cultivate real, widespread usage for Pi, not just empty speculation like we've seen in some other crypto projects. If they can successfully onboard millions of new businesses, merchants, and consumers into the Pi ecosystem, the sky's the limit for how much each of our holdings could ultimately be worth on the open market. Unlike Bitcoin's mining, which becomes less sustainable over time, Pi's model positions it to become more sustainable and rewarding for us early miners as the user base expands. So while the short-term mining rate adjustment is a bit painful, we need to be patient and keep our eyes on the bigger prize. The lower rates today could translate into a dramatically higher valuation for our Pi down the road as the ecosystem thrives. Enough speculating about the future, though. Let's get into some other key updates for pioneers from the Pi core team, the latest requirements for verified pioneers. Recently, the core team announced some new steps for proving your identity and account legitimacy if you want to become a fully verified pioneer. For many of us, there's a new requirement to complete a real-life test, which involves recording a short video showing your face and validating your identity documents within the Pi app. The goal is to prevent fraudulent duplicate accounts and pioneer statuses. However, this new policy revealed some tricky situations the core team will need to address. One Pi miner shared the unfortunate case of a friend whose wife had recently passed away after recording her verification video but before officially submitting it. Since she had already recorded the real-life test before passing, this created an identity validation problem once it came time to prove she was the person who appeared in that video. Heartbreaking situations like this show there are still some wrinkles for the team to iron out and make appropriate exceptions for. The advice for now is to keep all documentation like death certificates handy in case you encounter a special case that needs manual review. Overall, though, I'm glad the core team is implementing stronger identity checks like this real-life test. It instills more legitimacy and credibility in the Pi project as it moves closer to mainstream launch. We can't have bad actors creating fake accounts and trying to game the system, as that would undermine the entire point of our secure, decentralized ecosystem. A bit of extra verification is a smart move in my book. Let's discuss. Phew, that was a lot to cover. We jumped into the recent basic Pi mining rate adjustment, compared it to Bitcoin's upcoming halving challenges, explored Pi's big picture value potential, and touched on new core team validation policies. I tried to explain everything as clearly and straightforwardly as possible, but I'm sure some of you still have lingering questions spinning around in your heads. Was any part confusing, or did certain sections need more explanation? What are your biggest takeaways or concerns from this update? Do you have any personal stories to share about the verification process? Let's open up the discussion in the comments. I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts, addressing any confusion, and keeping this conversation going. The more we openly discuss these developments as a community, the more prepared we'll be for the future. Also, if you found value in this breakdown, I'd really appreciate it if you could share this video with other Pi fam members to keep spreading awareness. The more informed pioneers we have, the stronger our project becomes. Here's to our continuing mining efforts, and hopefully a world where our perseverance pays off in a major way down the line. Thanks for watching. See you in next one.